We begin with Charles Krauthammer, Fox News contributor and author of the book, Things That Matter. Charles, great to see you. So the president, whether he acknowledges it explicitly, was dealt a significant blow today by this high court.
Yes, and it's not the first time. This is the culmination of a long string of decisions issued by the Supreme Court and by lower courts, which have admonished this president for clearly overstepping the boundaries of his authority. In this case, it was quite egregious, and that's what the Fifth Circuit had said. This was a sweeping decision that would have empowered these illegal immigrants, and whether you agree with the policy or not, it was simply not in the president's power to do it. And just because the president wants to do something that Congress will not do, it does not give him the authority to do it.
I mean, he doesn't seem to get that. He doesn't seem to get that.
He doesn't.
22 times he came out and said to the community pushing for immigration reform, I can't. I've done all I can do. If I take the next step, which is the thing that just got struck down today, I'll be overstepping my authority. I'm not a king. And then he did it and never, ever explained how he found the authority that he'd been saying for months he lacked.
Well, I agree with you. That was astonishingly intellectually dishonest, because he himself had explained why he couldn't do it beyond his authority, and then, as you say, he decided otherwise, and he decided otherwise simply because it was a kind of what the hell.
But Charles, my point is now to come out and just, this ruling, and, you know, it's because they didn't appoint or confirm Merrick Garland. It's like, you yourself said 24 times you couldn't do this. So let's not blame the courts.
Look, with him, it's in for a dime, in for a dollar. He had a year to go in his administration, year and a half, and decided, I'll go for it. Either he'll win. And look, it wasn't clear that there'd be anybody out there to challenge him. This challenge had to come from the states. It did not come from anywhere else.
The president came out today and said, look, I had to do it because those Republicans refused to act. He doesn't acknowledge that, of course, the Democrats controlled all three branches. I mean, they controlled the House, they controlled the Senate, they controlled the White House. For the first 2 years of his presidency, he didn't prioritize this. He prioritized Obamacare and broke a direct promise to this community that he would prioritize this instead. So he violates the promise. Then today he comes out, I had to do it because no one would act.
But this idea that he had to do it, I mean, that's Hugo Chavez talk. You can't have to do it. It's not a dictatorship. You can only do it if Congress passes the law. A president is restrained by, I mean, these are elementary school, you know, this is sort of high school civics. And that the president would overstep it wantonly is remarkable. And as I say again and again, remember with the recess appointment case, the NLRB, he was admonished by the court unanimously. You cannot decide when Congress is in session, when it isn't. And that's something that he's completely ignored, rather serenely, and he doesn't even try to be intellectually consistent.
It's amazing to watch. I mean, how many times this president has been brushed back for overstepping his executive authority. The same person who lectured us on how he was a constitutional law professor, and he understood the Constitution. And unlike President George W. Bush, he wasn't going to try to do ends around it, and an end around it. And here we stand. Yet another Supreme Court decision coming down against him. Charles, great to see you.
My pleasure.